Okay, so can we talk about this current climate where it suddenly has become cool and acceptable to slip the rug from underneath your faithful consumer base? Where these companies suddenly say, you know what, screw everybody. We're shaking up things here and you're just going to have to deal with it. I mean, yeah, we know about the Dylan Mulvaney thing where Budweiser, did what they did by throwing him on a can. But if we're honest, the reason that Miss Heinerscheid even thought that she can get away with doing something like that probably was contributed to many contributing factors that we're going to be getting into briefly. So what are some of the most recent rug pulls that we can find? Remember this one? Batman's sidekick comes out as LGBT. So now as a man, can you think about that? Every reference to, man, we're like Batman and Robin, now has to be rethought because there was nothing that alluded to sexual preference when we were watching the dynamic duo when we were children. All that we saw was the type of friend that had your back, the type of friend that each of us wished that we had. And now somebody had to go and screw that up by injecting it with agenda. You ever notice how cranberry juice finds its way into everything nowadays? Cran apple, cran orange, cran banana, cran motor oil. Well, that's what it appears as though the idea of being all-inclusive has become. It's not about live and let live. It's about kicking your door in and let me live here. Scoot over like a 3-year-old toddler that jumps in the bed between mommy and daddy because if baby ain't happy, and if baby ain't the center of attention, then nobody's doing the hibbity-dibbity tonight. Now, you remember back when the Me Too movement kicked off? And the woman who was credited with starting the Me Too movement, Tarana Burke, was gathering up her army of overzealous zealots who saw everything as toxic masculinity. Remember that? And Gillette decided to slip the rug from underneath a group of men that just wanted a simple shave. Do you remember this commercial?
Bullying.
The Me Too movement against sexual harassment.
Masculinity.
Is this the best a man can get? Is it? We can't hide from it.
Sexual harassment is taking over.
It's been going on far too long. We can't laugh it off.
Yes, this is what happens when agenda turns into cranberry juice. They'll come kick your door in and say, nobody's shaving until I say what I have to say about all of you toxic men out there with chest hair and your toxic mustaches. Huh? Next thing you know, the VP of marketing is dropping commercials like this. Gillette, the best a man can get. And while the Dylan Mulvaney Bud Light rug slip is still fresh in the media, did you know that this was not the first attempt at trying to force agenda onto the Bud Light brand? Here's an article from 2015 during the height of the Me Too movement, where once again they attempted to cranberry juice their way into Bud Light. So take a look at this. This was in 2015. Bud Light ads should encourage proper consent. What? So guess what? You were probably on the verge of a Me Too movement Bud Light commercial. So now you can't just enjoy a beer with the fellas and someone says, hey, what you feel like doing? And the other guy says, shoot, it doesn't matter to me. I'm up for whatever. Oh no. Now here comes the woke Bud Light fairy.
Hey guys, you can't say that. Because if you're up for whatever, then that includes throwing babies off of a mountain. And throwing babies off of a mountain is a bad idea, okay?
You know what? When is enough? So now Bud Light capitulates to these nitpickers that search for a problem where none exists because the goal is not to better the world. The goal is to carve out a space where people of certain beliefs can maneuver into your right of liberty and the pursuit of happiness while dominating you and forcing fear upon anyone that dares to have a dissenting point of view. So Bud Light can't just say, hey, look, this is a beer for responsible adults. And we assume that if you are a responsible adult, that you believe that maybe tossing babies from a mountain probably isn't the best idea. No, they have to throw Tarana Burke on a can to remind you before you take a sip. I mean, can you imagine drinking from such a chalice of piety? Hey, all you responsible drinkers out there, this is Bud Light. We've decided that you need to be reminded that you need consent before you have wham bam with a lady that can give you consent and then rescind it in the morning because she drank our product and can't remember giving you consent. Even though you were drinking too and had way more than she did, but we live in a biased society where everything's a man's fault, so what we've decided to do is provide a can that will destroy any libidinous cogitations that could come back to haunt you in the morning. So in other words, we've decided to make the impossible boner Bud Light. One sip from this can and guaranteed you won't get a boner. Without a boner, there's no incentive to wham bam. So consent issues will be the last thing on your mind. So jump on board and get woke. Guzzle down an impossible boner Bud Light. So slipping the rug from underneath consumers has become commonplace. And the media powers that back this sort of propaganda set the stage for the Dylan Mulvaneys to find their way into your coolers and ice chests, or Bubba the Ballerina on your beard trimmer, or cranberry juice in your motor oil. But at the end of the day, you, as a consumer, have the power to take their ad campaign to the top of a mountain and do what any responsible adult would do. Support the channel by hitting the like button, commenting, and subscribing for more content.